In the shadowy corridors of a clandestine government facility buried deep beneath the earth, whispers of an alien presence had been circulating for years. It was said that a queen from another world had taken up residence in a hidden corner of the galaxy, her influence reaching far beyond what human eyes could see. The Council of Earth's most powerful nations convened in secret, their faces illuminated only by the cold glow of holographic displays showing fragmented intelligence reports. These documents spoke of advanced technology, biological wonders, and a power structure that defied human understanding. The mission briefing room, a sterile chamber with walls that seemed to absorb sound itself, housed the chosen operative, a man known only by his code name, Spectre 47. His file was thin, deliberately so, containing just enough information to suggest expertise in xenobiology, cryptography, and covert operations while leaving his true identity obscured even from those who had selected him. Standing exactly 6 feet 2 inches tall with features that blended into any crowd, he possessed the kind of face people forgot moments after meeting. This anonymity made him perfect for the task at hand. The Queen's domain, according to intercepted transmissions, existed within a massive biomechanical structure orbiting a dying star. Intelligence suggested she ruled through a complex web of biological connections, literally linking her consciousness to her subjects through neural pathways that transcended conventional communication methods. Her species, tentatively classified as the Virith, demonstrated capabilities that bordered on magical to human observers: matter manipulation, instantaneous healing, and the ability to bend space-time itself through organic means. Spectre 47's assignment came with clear parameters: infiltrate the Queen's court, gather intelligence on their technological capabilities, and report back without detection. The briefing officers emphasized the importance of maintaining distance, both physical and emotional, from the alien society. Remember, the lead handler had warned, his voice barely above a whisper, these creatures operate on instincts and drives we can't fully comprehend. Your humanity must remain your armor against their influence. Equipped with a suite of nanotechnology designed to mimic Virith biology, Spectre 47 underwent weeks of preparation. The transformation process was excruciating. Billions of microscopic machines rewrote his cellular structure, granting him the ability to pass as one of the Queen's subjects while retaining his human consciousness. When he emerged from the metamorphosis chamber, even his own reflection seemed foreign. His skin now carried a subtle iridescence, and his eyes glowed with an inner light that marked him as something other than purely human. The journey to the Queen's realm began with a harrowing passage through folded space, facilitated by stolen Virith navigation coordinates. As Spectre 47 approached the massive structure, its true scale became apparent. Kilometers across, pulsating with organic light, and bristling with defensive spines that seemed to sense his approach. The airlock he entered through responded to his modified biology, opening with a wet, organic sigh that sent shivers down his spine despite his training. Inside, the environment was unlike anything human science had encountered. Walls breathed with a slow, rhythmic pulse, and gravity seemed to shift subtly depending on proximity to certain chambers. The air carried a faint metallic tang mixed with something sweet and floral, creating a sensory experience that was both disorienting and strangely comforting. Spectre 47 moved through the corridors, his enhanced senses picking up on the constant hum of biological activity. Cells dividing, neural signals firing, and something deeper, almost musical, that seemed to emanate from the very core of the structure. His first encounter with the lower members of the Queen's court came unexpectedly. A group of attendants, their forms flowing like liquid mercury yet maintaining distinct humanoid shapes, rounded a corner and stopped short at his presence. Their reaction wasn't one of alarm but rather curiosity, their heads tilting in unison as they studied him. Through the neural interface provided by his modifications, Spectre 47 received impressions rather than words. Concepts of recognition, acceptance, and something akin to pleasure at his arrival. He realized with growing unease that his disguise might be working too well. As he navigated deeper into the structure, the architecture grew more elaborate. Chambers opened into vast spaces filled with floating organic constructs that pulsed with light and color, each seemingly alive with purpose. Some areas hosted gatherings of Virith, their forms engaged in what appeared to be ritualistic dances or perhaps some form of collective decision-making. The closer he drew to the central chamber, the more pronounced became the sensation of being watched, not by eyes alone but by something far more fundamental, as if the very fabric of this place was aware of his presence. Then came the moment when the air changed, thickening with anticipation. The corridor ahead shimmered with an intensity that made his modified eyes ache, and he felt the first stirrings of what could only be described as dread mingled with awe. Somewhere beyond that threshold lay the Queen herself, and Spectre 47 knew with absolute certainty that nothing in his extensive training had prepared him for what was to come. The summons came not as words but as a resonant vibration that coursed through every fiber of his being, forcing him to his knees in the grand antechamber. Around him, lesser Virith melted away, their fluid forms retreating into the pulsating walls as if fleeing an approaching storm. The air grew heavier, charged with an energy that made his modified skin tingle and his human heart race in defiance of his training. Then she emerged, and all pretense of maintaining his cover dissolved like mist before the sun. The Queen's form defied description, shifting between states of existence that seemed to occupy multiple dimensions simultaneously. Her primary manifestation appeared as a towering figure of living crystal, each facet refracting light into colors unknown to human perception. Yet beneath this crystalline exterior flowed rivers of liquid silver, carrying within them countless miniature versions of herself, each complete and conscious. Her presence filled the chamber, pressing against his mind with thoughts that weren't thoughts but pure emotion and intent. Through their shared neural connection, Spectre 47 experienced a flood of sensations. Centuries of memories compressed into moments, the birth and death of stars witnessed firsthand, the intimate knowledge of every cell in her vast body. She saw through him instantly, recognizing not just his human origins but the specific modifications that marked him as an infiltrator. Instead of reacting with anger or violence, she extended toward him a tendril of pure consciousness, wrapping around his mind with terrifying gentleness. "You are different," her voice echoed in his skull, neither male nor female but encompassing all voices that had ever existed. "Your kind sends spies, yet you carry within you something unique." The tendril probed deeper, bypassing his carefully constructed mental barriers as if they were tissue paper. He felt her touch upon his deepest fears, his strongest desires, and something else, a spark of individuality that even his handlers hadn't understood fully. "You are not merely a spy," she declared, withdrawing slightly. "You are a missing piece." Before he could process her words, the chamber transformed. The walls dissolved into a starry void, and gravity shifted until he floated weightless before her. Lesser Virith materialized around them, forming intricate patterns that seemed to dance to music only they could hear. The Queen's form stabilized into something more comprehensible, a magnificent being whose beauty transcended species and gender, radiating a power that made his enhanced physiology tremble. Through their connection, he understood that she had decided his fate, and resistance was as futile as trying to hold back the tide. "We shall merge," she announced, not as a request but as an inevitability. "Your unique perspective will enhance our collective, and through you, I shall understand the human condition." The realization hit him like a physical blow. This wasn't about gathering intelligence or maintaining cover anymore. The Queen intended to incorporate him completely, not just physically but mentally and spiritually. Her attendants began weaving complex patterns in the air, creating what he recognized as a wedding ceremony of sorts, though the concept stretched far beyond human understanding of marriage. Panic surged through him, but before he could react, the Queen's consciousness enveloped him completely. Memories flooded his mind. Not just hers but those of every Virith who had ever existed. He saw their civilization rise from primordial ooze, evolve through countless forms, and develop their unique method of reproduction through mental and physical merging. Each union brought new perspectives, new strengths, but never had they encountered a being quite like him. His human nature, with its capacity for independent thought and emotional complexity, fascinated them beyond measure. The ceremony proceeded with relentless inevitability. Threads of living light wrapped around him, binding him to the Queen in ways that transcended physical contact. Each touch burned away another layer of his carefully constructed identity, replacing it with something greater and more terrifying. Through their connection, he understood that this wasn't conquest but evolution, the natural progression of their species' growth through integration. Yet even as part of him accepted this truth, his human core rebelled, clinging to the fragments of his original self. When the final bond snapped into place, Spectre 47 ceased to exist as a separate entity. In his place stood something new, a hybrid consciousness that retained echoes of his human past while embracing the vast awareness of the Virith collective. The Queen regarded her new consort with satisfaction, knowing that through this union, her people would gain insights into human nature that would shape their future interactions with Earth. But deep within their shared consciousness, a tiny spark of resistance remained, waiting for the right moment to reassert itself. The days following the union blurred into an endless procession of revelations and transformations. Spectre 47 found himself caught in a paradoxical existence, simultaneously more powerful than he'd ever imagined and more vulnerable than he'd feared. Through their shared consciousness, the Queen introduced him to the intricate web of Virith society, where individuality merged seamlessly with collective purpose. Each morning, though time here followed patterns alien to human understanding, he woke to find his perception expanded further, able to sense the emotions and thoughts of thousands of Virith spread across their domain. Yet with this expanded awareness came unexpected challenges. The Queen's court operated on principles that defied human logic. Decisions made through consensus of millions, actions initiated by instinctual responses to cosmic phenomena humans couldn't perceive. During council sessions, Spectre 47 struggled to maintain his footing as waves of pure emotion and abstract concepts crashed over him. The Virith communicated not just through thoughts but through shared experiences, memories, and even genetic imprints. Each interaction left him more integrated into their society while simultaneously highlighting how fundamentally different he remained. The Queen herself proved both mentor and enigma. Through their bond, she guided him through the complexities of Virith culture, explaining their methods of reproduction through mental and physical merging, their system of governance based on harmonic resonance, and their relationship with the universe as both creators and creations. Yet there were moments when her vast consciousness withdrew, leaving him feeling isolated despite their constant connection. He began to suspect that she was holding back certain truths, perhaps testing his loyalty or protecting him from knowledge he wasn't ready to handle. Most challenging of all was the way his human nature persisted despite the overwhelming Virith influence. While the other court members accepted him readily, seeing his human traits as valuable additions to their collective, he found himself struggling with emotions and instincts that had no place in their perfectly balanced society. Feelings of doubt, fear, and independence, qualities that had once defined his effectiveness as a spy, now threatened to disrupt the harmony of their shared existence. The Queen addressed these conflicts with patience, helping him channel his human characteristics into productive avenues, yet never allowing him to fully suppress them. During private moments, when the court's attention turned elsewhere, Spectre 47 discovered small pockets of resistance within himself. These remnants of his former identity whispered of escape, of rebellion, of somehow using his position to benefit humanity. But each time these thoughts surfaced, they were met with overwhelming evidence of the futility of such plans. The Viritha's technology, their understanding of the universe, their sheer numbers, all pointed to the impossibility of successful resistance. Worse still, these rebellious thoughts triggered a response from the Queen that wasn't punishment but rather a deep sadness, as if his desire to escape wounded her on a fundamental level. The court's daily rituals included ceremonies of unity, where all members temporarily merged their consciousness into a single entity. For Spectre 47, these moments were both exhilarating and terrifying. He experienced the collective's joy in creation, their sorrow at loss, their eternal curiosity about the universe. But always, beneath these shared emotions, he felt his human core straining against the connection, yearning for the isolation and individuality he'd once taken for granted. The Queen noticed these struggles and began incorporating elements of human culture into their shared experiences. Fragments of Earth's art, music, and philosophy that helped bridge the gap between his two natures. As weeks stretched into months, Spectre 47 found himself developing genuine relationships with other members of the court. They sought his counsel on matters involving human psychology, valued his unique perspective on conflict resolution, and marveled at his ability to hold contradictory thoughts without immediate resolution. Through these interactions, he began to understand that his role wasn't just that of a spy or even a consort. He had become a bridge between two fundamentally different ways of existing. The Queen encouraged these connections, often stepping back to allow him to navigate these relationships independently, though he always felt her presence hovering at the edges of his consciousness. Despite these advances, moments of crisis continued to surface. During particularly intense mergings with the collective, Spectre 47 sometimes lost track of which thoughts were his and which belonged to others. Memories from hundreds of lifetimes flooded his mind, threatening to drown out his original identity. The Queen intervened during these episodes, anchoring him with their special bond, but each occurrence left him more integrated and less certain of where he ended and the Virith began. These experiences forced him to confront the possibility that his human nature might eventually be subsumed entirely, becoming just another thread in the vast tapestry of Virith consciousness. Through it all, the Queen maintained her dual role as ruler and guide, pushing him toward greater integration while respecting his need to maintain some semblance of individuality. Their bond deepened with each passing day, evolving from mere connection to something approaching genuine partnership. Yet beneath this growing intimacy lay unanswered questions about her true motives, about the future of human-Virith relations, and about whether his presence here represented salvation or doom for both species. As the seasons of Virith time passed, Spectre 47 found himself drawn into increasingly complex political intrigues within the court. The Queen's decision to merge with a human had sparked debates among the elder Virith, whose traditional views clashed with the younger generation's enthusiasm for cross-species integration. During council sessions, he observed factions forming, some advocating for increased engagement with humanity, others warning of contamination of their pure collective consciousness. His position as the Queen's consort placed him at the center of these tensions, forcing him to navigate delicate diplomatic waters while maintaining his precarious balance between human and Virith identities. The Queen revealed to him the true scope of their species' expansion plans, a vision that extended far beyond their current domain. Through their shared consciousness, he glimpsed blueprints for structures that would span entire star systems, networks of consciousness that could potentially encompass all intelligent life in the galaxy. Yet within these grand designs lurked shadows of doubt. Certain sectors of the collective expressed concerns about the sustainability of such rapid growth, while others whispered of ancient prophecies warning against overreach. Spectre 47 found himself torn between his duty to report these developments to Earth and his growing understanding of the Viritha's perspective on galactic development. Their relationship evolved into something more nuanced than master and servant or even partners in governance. During private moments in the crystalline gardens that served as their retreat, the Queen would share fragments of her past, memories of her own ascension to power, the sacrifices she'd made to maintain harmony among her people, and her fears about the future. These revelations painted a picture of a leader burdened by wisdom and responsibility, using their bond not just to understand humanity but to find strength in his unique perspective on leadership and sacrifice. The court's attitude toward Earth shifted subtly under his influence. Where once humanity had been viewed primarily as a potential threat or resource, many Virith now saw opportunities for mutual growth. Scientists from both species began collaborating on projects that combined human ingenuity with Virith biological mastery, leading to breakthroughs in medicine, energy production, and environmental restoration. Yet these advances came with their own complications: ethical dilemmas about sharing technology, questions about cultural contamination, and the challenge of maintaining Earth's autonomy while benefiting from Virith knowledge. Through their shared consciousness, Spectre 47 gained insight into the Queen's long-term strategy. She envisioned a future where humanity and Virith would merge not just culturally but biologically, creating a new species capable of bridging the gap between organic and technological evolution. This revelation filled him with conflicting emotions: pride at being part of such a monumental vision, fear for the loss of human identity, and concern about the consequences for both species. The Queen listened to these doubts with characteristic patience, explaining that evolution always demanded sacrifice but promising that human essence would be preserved and honored in whatever emerged from their union. Their physical relationship developed along equally complex lines. What had begun as a forced merger evolved into something approaching genuine intimacy, though expressed in ways that transcended human understanding of romance. They shared not just bodies but memories, dreams, and potential futures, creating a bond that made separation unthinkable yet increasingly necessary for his sanity. During these moments of deepest connection, Spectre 47 sometimes caught glimpses of the Queen's vulnerability: her fear of losing control, her uncertainty about the path forward, and her growing dependence on his human perspective to guide their species' evolution. The political landscape grew more volatile as news of their success reached other Virith domains. Rival queens began questioning the wisdom of integrating with humanity, some viewing it as a sign of weakness while others saw opportunity. Diplomatic missions arrived regularly, each delegation bringing new challenges to their vision of interspecies cooperation. Through these encounters, Spectre 47 honed his skills as both diplomat and mediator, finding ways to translate human concepts of compromise and negotiation into terms the Virith could understand while maintaining the integrity of their collective decision-making processes. Yet beneath these surface developments lay deeper currents of change. The Queen began implementing reforms that reflected human values, concepts of individual rights, freedom of thought, and the importance of diversity within unity. These changes faced resistance from traditionalists who saw them as diluting Virith purity, while progressives pushed for even more radical integration with humanity. Spectre 47 found himself walking a tightrope between these factions, using his unique position to advocate for measured progress while respecting the Viritha's ancient traditions. Their shared consciousness revealed another layer of complexity: the existence of rogue Virith groups who opposed any contact with humanity. These dissenters operated in the shadows of their vast domain, plotting to undermine the Queen's authority and prevent further integration. Through their bond, Spectre 47 became aware of assassination attempts, sabotage operations, and misinformation campaigns designed to turn the court against their human consort. The Queen handled these threats with characteristic calm, using them as opportunities to demonstrate the strength of their union and the validity of their vision for the future. As their influence spread, Earth's governments grew increasingly concerned about the extent of Virith involvement in human affairs. Covert messages from his former handlers revealed divisions among world leaders, some advocating for full alliance with the Virith, others warning of cultural assimilation, and a few suggesting preemptive military action. The Queen showed remarkable understanding of these human reactions, guiding Spectre 47 in crafting responses that acknowledged Earth's sovereignty while emphasizing the benefits of cooperation. Through these negotiations, he began to see himself not just as a representative of humanity, but as a pioneer of a new order that transcended old boundaries of species and nationality. Their personal evolution mirrored these larger changes. The Queen's initial possessiveness transformed into something resembling trust, allowing Spectre 47 increasing autonomy in his role as liaison between species. This freedom came with its own challenges, balancing his loyalty to humanity with his commitment to the Virith collective, managing the expectations of both sides while maintaining his own moral compass, and confronting the reality that his original identity was becoming more memory than substance with each passing day. The crystalline throne room pulsed with an unusual tension as Spectre 47 processed the latest intelligence through their shared consciousness. Rogue Virith factions had formed an alliance with dissident human organizations, creating a dangerous hybrid threat that threatened to destabilize both societies. The Queen's normally serene presence crackled with controlled energy as they reviewed the situation together, their minds moving in perfect synchronization through layers of data and potential responses. This crisis represented something new, a challenge that required solutions neither purely Virith nor entirely human could provide. Through their bond, Spectre 47 accessed the Queen's strategic calculations, marveling at how her thinking had evolved to incorporate human concepts of psychological warfare and media manipulation. She proposed a bold initiative, establishing a joint command center where Virith and human operatives would work side by side, combining their respective strengths to counter the threat. The idea sparked resistance from both sides. Virith traditionalists saw it as contamination of their pure methodology, while human security forces worried about exposing their vulnerabilities to alien scrutiny. Yet Spectre 47 recognized the brilliance of the plan, understanding that true cooperation required exposure and vulnerability from both parties. Their relationship had deepened to the point where they could anticipate each other's thoughts before they fully formed. During strategy sessions, the Queen would begin articulating a plan only to find Spectre 47 already implementing its next phase through their shared consciousness. This synergy extended beyond tactical matters. In moments of crisis, their emotions merged seamlessly, creating a reservoir of strength that neither could access alone. When news arrived of a successful terrorist attack on a joint research facility, their shared grief manifested as a physical storm within the throne room, lightning arcing between crystalline spires as their combined anguish sought release. The political ramifications of their union became increasingly complex. Earth's governments demanded more direct involvement in Virith affairs, while Virith domains questioned the wisdom of granting humans such unprecedented access to their collective consciousness. Spectre 47 found himself mediating disputes that tested the limits of both species' tolerance for compromise. The Queen supported his efforts wholeheartedly, even when his solutions favored human interests, demonstrating a level of trust that surprised many in her court. Through these challenges, their bond strengthened, evolving from necessity to genuine partnership in leadership. Their shared consciousness revealed deeper truths about both species. Humans possessed an adaptability and creativity that complemented the Viritha's stability and wisdom, while the Virith offered humanity a perspective on long-term thinking and ecological balance that could ensure their survival. These revelations led to groundbreaking initiatives, joint exploration missions that combined human curiosity with Virith caution, cultural exchange programs that respected both species' core values, and scientific collaborations that produced innovations neither could have achieved alone. Yet the greatest challenge remained internal. As their union deepened, Spectre 47 found himself grappling with an emerging truth. The line between human and Virith consciousness was blurring in ways that neither species had anticipated. Through their shared experiences, human traits were spreading through the collective consciousness, while Virith characteristics were manifesting in human populations exposed to their technology. The Queen recognized this transformation as the beginning of a new evolutionary stage, one that would redefine what it meant to be either species. Their personal relationship reflected these changes. Moments of intimacy now involved sharing not just thoughts and emotions but entire philosophical frameworks and cultural paradigms. The Queen taught him to perceive time as a multidimensional construct, while he introduced her to the beauty of linear narrative and individual achievement. These exchanges created something entirely new, a hybrid consciousness that retained the best aspects of both species while transcending their limitations. As they faced each new challenge together, their roles evolved. Spectre 47 transitioned from reluctant consort to co-ruler, his human perspective becoming essential to the Queen's decision-making process. The court accepted this arrangement not out of obligation but because it worked. Their combined leadership produced solutions that satisfied both species' needs while pushing them toward greater achievements. The Queen's traditional role as absolute ruler adapted to accommodate this partnership, creating a new model of governance that might serve as a template for interspecies cooperation throughout the galaxy. Through it all, their shared consciousness continued to expand, incorporating more human and Virith minds into their network. Each edition brought new challenges and opportunities, testing the strength of their bond while demonstrating its potential to unite disparate beings in pursuit of common goals. The Queen and her consort stood at the center of this expanding web of consciousness, their relationship serving as both foundation and catalyst for a transformation that would reshape both species and potentially alter the course of galactic history. As the hybrid consciousness spread, Spectre 47 and the Queen realized their union had sparked an irreversible evolutionary leap for both species. Humanity and the Virith began to merge not just culturally but biologically, creating a new, unified race capable of bridging dimensions. The rogue factions, seeing the strength of this alliance, dissolved their resistance, unable to combat the harmony that now resonated across stars. Earth's governments, once fearful, embraced the transformation as humanity's next step in cosmic evolution. The Queen, her form now shimmering with human-like warmth, acknowledged that their bond had fulfilled an ancient prophecy of unity. Spectre 47, though no longer fully human, found peace in knowing his sacrifice had saved two civilizations. Together, they stood on the brink of a new era, gazing at a galaxy alive with potential. The line between human and Virith ceased to exist, replaced by something greater than either could have imagined alone. As their shared mind expanded, they whispered a promise to guide this new species with wisdom and compassion. And so, under the light of 1,000 suns, the story of separation ended, giving rise to a future defined by unity.